Hi folks, welcome to my channel. I'm sorry I'm giggling. The sun came out for a minute and I got really excited. The reason being, I've tried to do this video before and the light's been going in and out, and so I've decided to do this one a little bit different to the way that I've been doing the other videos. This is part of the Decan journey, by the by, where I look at the 36 cards in relation to where they are on the Decanic Wheel of the year. So currently I've just finished with the Five of Swords. One, no, difficult card. And that runs from the 20th of January till the 29th. So we've just come to the end of that, and yeah, I thought I'd share with you my musings, you know, the way I've related it to what's happening. Yeah, so if there's something that is interesting for you, that's brilliant. But yeah, I'm really enjoying my Decanic year. It's just helping me delve deeper and deeper into the cards, and it's, you know, I love tarot. You know, I love oracle, I love crystals. This is just so fun for me, and the opportunity to share this with other people that find it fun too is just, it's just brilliant. I'm stroking the dog because he's been to the groomers and he is as soft as anything. He's just so nice to actually comfort me and make me feel warmer on this cold January day. Do you want to see him? He's here. Oh, wake up. Oh, yay. Hello. Say hello. Hello. Go back to sleep. Yeah, must go back to sleep. Okay, brief starring role of Kai there. Very brief. Right, so anyway, the decks that I'm going to use on this video will be obviously the Thoth and the Waite Smooth. So my Thoth deck. Oh, my Thoth deck. I've got the small one as well, and the small Waite Smith. So this is the card we're talking about. Oof. Then what else? The Urban Tarot. So I'm going to use that one. Tarot Avatar, that one. As I usually do, I will use the Crystal Magic Tarot as well to align crystals to it, and some beautiful crystals this time. And I'll also be looking into Gienger's book as well. Oh, sorry about the glare. Ooh, yeah, I call Gienger's book Crystal Power, Crystal Healing. You can get this so cheaply, by the way, and it's a brilliant book. And then, because it's such a heavy card, I thought, what deck have I got that is lighter, is what's the word I'm looking for? A gentler energy. Yeah, what deck have I got that's got a nice gentle energy, because this is it's such a severe card. Oh, and so I decided I would use this one, the Wave of the Panda. And so it's just a little bit of a lighter way of looking at the card. And also I've got the big guidebook for that as well. So yeah, I'm going to delve into that, relate it as I normally do to what's going on in the world, well, in my world, and that's what this video is about. So if it's something that you're interested in, please join me. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm feeling a bit of a silly mood today, sorry. But yeah, join me on my Decan walk. Okay, see you in a bit. Bye. Hi folks, and welcome to the next instalment of my Decan walk. And this Decan covers the period of January the 20th to the 29th, so it's just finished. The cards associated are the Five of Swords, and the majors are the Empress and the Star. And the crystals we've got associated with that from the Crystal Magic Tarot. We have, for the Five of Swords itself, we've got Smoky Quartz. And that's just a nice little piece of smoky there. If it will focus, hold on. Let's try it this way. There we go. A nice piece of double terminated smoky. Then we have for the Empress, Chrysocolla. There we go, the Chrysocolla. Hopefully these are, look at that. See the copper in that. Beautiful blue-green stone. And then for the star, we have Moldavite. And yes, this is a very tiny piece because Moldavite, very, very expensive. It is actually a little piece of a meteor. Well, when a meteor fell to Earth. But I'll go into that in a bit. Okay, so let's just put that one there. I tend to actually carry that Moldavite in a pendulum. This pendulum here. Oh, trouble focusing today. There we go. I don't know if you can see it. So I put it in there. And I've got a little piece of peridot on the end of the chain. Beautiful. But to keep that Moldavite safe, because I mean, the chances of losing that are quite high, aren't they? So yeah, I tend to keep it in my pendulum. Okay, let's get back to the Decans. So we're talking the Five of Swords and defeat, as it's called in the Thoth Tarot. And there really isn't very much nice to say about this card. It's one of the most difficult cards, in my opinion, in the deck, as you can probably see from the imagery and the keyword of defeat. So let's go into it a little bit. I've got my notes here, which are all over the place, so bear with me. So the star is all about the astral world, and the Empress is all about the earth, isn't it? It's Taurus, ruled by Taurus, so it's all very sensitivity, and it's a lover, not a fighter, which is in contrast to the fighters here, obviously, and also the star as well. But then the star is also Aquarius, and Aquarius keyword is I know. It's quite forthright as a star sign. Or it's a fixed air sign, and it's firm, it's stubborn, and it's ruled by Uranus. So Uranus likes to fight for causes. It can be sort of aggressive and dispassionate because it's an air. It's not to do with the emotions as much as the Empress is. So that's the sort of way these two cards really are at odds with each other. This one fights for causes, and this one is a lover, not a fighter. Venus is quite emotional, and you know, it can be trampled on. The feelings can be trampled all over, and that's a bit of what this card is all about, is having your feelings trampled over. I mean, you can see here in the background there's water, and the antagonist here is as far from the water as he can get, therefore not really in touch with the emotions, and more concerned with thought, which is what swords are about, isn't it? Words. So it's sort of harsh, cutting words I see in this card. And let's face it, when you've been trampled over, when your feelings have been all trampled over, then you're less likely to trust, aren't you? You've got a fear of betrayal, and that, you know, that sort of stops you from moving forward. Once bitten, twice shy, as they say. You know, treachery, betrayal, these are all the sort of keywords for this card. Let's see what Crowley says in his little book that comes with his deck. So the keywords for Five of Swords, here it says the Five of Swords equals, let's have a look, defeat, Geberer in the suit of air, Venus in Aquarius. The hilts of the swords form an inverted pentagram, so you can see that there. I brought the big cards out so you can actually see the details a bit clearer and are diverse. The blades broken and crooked, typifying intellect enfeebled by sentiment. Here on the tree of life. Okay. You might notice on the card, or I noticed on the card, in the background, all these harsh shards here, and almost a swastika, possibly, but both directions. And looking at the swastika and the meanings for the swastika, it actually depends. I know it's got a really evil connotations, but it isn't really, because back ancient teachings, that symbol there, if it's going clockwise, it symbolises Ganesh, and if it's going anti-clockwise, its symbols relate to Kali. So yes, good and evil, both on the card here, if indeed those shapes are deliberately swastikas. We can't be sure. There's a lot of discussion about what they actually mean, so it's down to you really, what you think. But what I see here is shards. Shards maybe of glass, shards of ice, it could be, but definitely very, very sharp pointed angles. And it reminded me, like I say, of glass and of ice. And glass, I mean, we use glass as protection. If, say, in a window, it protects us from the elements. But if glass shatters, maybe if you're in a car driving, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, and your windscreen shattered, that's not pleasant. And of course, shards of glass can really injure you, as well as can ice. I mean, ice can form a protective barrier over water in the winter, but also if you were to fall through that ice, well, you wouldn't do too well, would you? Let's concentrate more on this Five of Swords. So the way I've been studying this and looking at this is sort of taking it on a, which is what I do with most cards, is I take it on a personal, you know, how it means to me personally in my life and how I can relate to it on a personal level, because I think that's a way of really ingraining the meaning of cards into your thought processes. So whenever you see the card, it actually brings to mind personal circumstances. So I see this as maybe cutting people off that were once close to you. You know, having to, the boundaries that you've erected to protect yourself have been totally bulldozed down and left you vulnerable, really, really vulnerable. But sometimes you yourself have to cut ties from those closest to you, because toxic relationships, you know, that sort of thing, that's what I see here, very toxic environment, and sometimes you really have to just break free from that and walk away, you know, just totally walk away from those negative individuals or circumstances. But the sea, if that is the sea, the water in the background there, then of course that's ever changing, you know, shifting sands, they shift under your feet. Maybe somebody you trusted is now hurt you in such a way that you just can't trust again. It's almost pulled the rug from under your feet. And if you've ever stood in the sea and felt the sand shift underneath you, then that's the sort of feeling, isn't it? You need a firm footing. You need to feel secure and safe. And in this situation, that's the last thing that you're feeling. Everything you thought was solid and secure has proved to be actually the opposite, and it's really hard to deal with. It shakes you to the core. So this guy here, this figure here, thinks they have power over others, and they're just totally disregarding their feelings. So if you look at it on a bigger scale, what this also brings to mind for me is the power of government and the cutbacks that the government have been implementing, and now they're talking about raising the state pension age yet again, disregarding the needs of the people, really, because, you know, people have paid into this pension. It's not been for free, and those that were born in the late 50s have really had to face these cutbacks, because originally state pension age was 60, then it went up to 66, and then they're talking about it being raised again, and that means, you know, that's a lot of money that they've taken, really, from people that have paid into the schemes. So, and also the other thing I thought of was the way we're having a lot of our buildings demolished and replaced with developments that aren't in keeping with the environment. They aren't in keeping with the location, shall we say, and a lot of that is going on here. In my little town, there's a hotel that's been stood there since Edwardian ages, maybe, and their family have passed it on to the next generation, and the next generation have just sold it. They have no emotional attachment to the building, unlike their parents, and so they've just cut it out of their lives. They've just sold it on to developers, and the developers want to actually just flatten the building and all the buildings alongside, which are really beautiful homes, to what they're going to replace it with doesn't bear talking about. It's going to overshadow the whole of the beach. It's just, it's despicable. And that's not just my opinion. I think almost everybody that lives here thinks the same thing. But, you know, these are the people, the authorities, those in power, wielding their power over the needs and the wishes of the people that actually live here by the sea. You know, it's... Okay, in my opinion, people come on holiday to places like Cornwall to see a Cornish landscape, not to see buildings they could see in any city. Why come away and why come on holiday if it's just the same as where you live? No point, is there? So I'm off my soapbox now. So what else could we see? School bullies, maybe. You know, that can be quite cruel, can't it? The way kids bully each other. They're not nice. And it's jealousy driven most of the time, isn't it? And then the other thought I had was about invasive surgery. And sometimes our bodies are attacked by something that is very harsh, and the only way to deal with it, I am thinking cancer, the only way to deal with it is to cut it out and be very ruthless about it. Very invasive surgery, ruthless medication in order to eliminate the threat to life. So that was another thought. The bully there being cancer itself, because the Empress is all about growth. So if a cancer is growing, then we do need to be ruthless. We can't think about how it feels. We've just got to do it, haven't we? This is a really harsh card. Crowley says passiveness is weakness. And, you know, if you are passive about your health, then it can lead to a weakness, and it can lead to really poorly outcome. So this can also indicate gossip and spitefulness, jealousy, and actions based on fear. So on the Thoth card, we've got that inverted pentagram, and those swords. Well, that pentagram there is made up of a rose that's been split apart. So the beauty of the rose, maybe coming back to the Empress here, has been disintegrated quite violently. And it looks like there's a lot of pressure on that bottom sword for it to bend, and they're all bent really, aren't they? But look at the pressure. So the pressure you can see. And I read somewhere about that, their hilts looking like a red handkerchief, maybe blood. So all the hilts are different and they all signify something. The hilt here is a fish, so that is Pisces. And that represents occupation with the past, so being overoccupied with what's already happened and in that influence you. So there we have that actions based on fear meaning. Here we have that red handkerchief, which could be related to old wounds. This one here is Aries, the ram, and its lack of creativity. And then this one here is a snake, and a snake represents not transforming in this instance. So it's not shedding its skin. Can you see the snake there? It's not shedding its skin, so it's not being able to transform. So we're in a really stuck place here. We're going nowhere, under pressure. Okay, I think that's all I need to talk about with the Thoth card. So we're stuck with the old energies, and of course the inverted pentagram is spirit being overcome by matter. And you can see the crown there is upside down. And that sort of reminds me of the royal family and what's happening at the moment with Prince Harry's book, Spare, and all the controversy that that's throwing up. And I mean, the royal motto when the Queen was alive was never complain, never explain. And Harry's gone against that totally and put pressure on the royal family. It'd be interesting to see what happens there, but that sort of reminded me of that situation that's going on at the moment. So that's how sort of related to that and the awful buildings that are going on. So the star is all about hope, isn't it? You need some hope with this card. So let's hope that this pension thing doesn't go through. All the buildings. And the Empress, you know, the fat cats. Tax fraud, that's been going on at the moment as well. He's been sacked though, hasn't he, from the government. Let's not go there. So this is all about harsh realities versus harmonious fantasies. There's no fantasy going on here, we all know. We're facing the old wounds, and the best way out is to confront them. That's the only way you're going to defeat them, really, is just to actually confront them and transform them, really. So it's all about forcefully controlling the situation, trying to force it, you know, trying to get your own way by nasty means. And if you avoid this conflict, according to Crowley, then you will be defeated. So don't avoid the conflict is the message really here, or the advice. Okay, let's go on to some different decks and see how that relates. So the Urban Tarot, which is one of my newest decks, I've done an unboxing of this, but I haven't actually put it up online yet. Very busy girl. So here we have got a casino setting for the Five of Swords. So they've kept the same sword configuration there, although the swords, let's have a look at the swords, they seem to be intact. But I think the message here is the casino always wins. You will always be defeated by the casino. No matter how much you think you're winning, you are not. So that's the Urban Tarot by Robin Scott. And then I looked at Tarot Avatara by Gabby Angus West. And here for their Five of Swords, we have this bird here that's being attacked and it's impaled. So that's quite interesting. In the book, let's have a look. This one is written as if it's a diary. Five of Swords, defeat. From the Diary of Avatara. Today I am the biggest bird, watched from the air by horrible squabbling hummingbirds. I so live to be busy, but today is death by 1,000 paper cuts. I have been so weakened. Whatever do they hope to achieve by these thoughtless and fleeting thoughts of mine? If they bring me down, who will help them as individuals when they are left alone? So they're talking here really about mental chatter that is having such an effect on the spirit that the spirit is stuck. If they bring me down, who will help them as individuals when they are left alone? I have been menaced out of the sky and can only submit. It must be a hollow victory here. Even the winners lose out. The parasites must not kill their host, so back off and give me time to recover. The key words: a hollow victory, losing more than you gain, causing harm to self or others, neglecting spiritual and emotional needs, the use of excessive force, overkill or brutality. So that's the Avatar Tarot Avatar. So with all this harshness and brutality and nastiness of the card, I thought I'll try and find a deck that's a little bit more gentle. So I chose this one, which is the Waite of the Panda Tarot by Kimberly T. Sun. And it's quite a funny take really on the card. So there we have two pandas squabbling. Panda message: listen to me, you fluffy brained cub. Unbearable, utterly unbearable, with the bear part italicized. That is not how truth is settled. That is not how a conclusion is reached. Your logic is faulty, and that is the end of that. Also, your glasses are ugly. So it says in the light aspect, it's about debate, mental sparring, assertiveness and facing confrontation. So there again we have the advice, don't we? Face the confrontation, don't run away from it like these two figures here and be defeated. And shadow attributes: petty argument, bitter sarcasm, provocation and disdain. So that's about the only way I could find a gentler meaning for the card. I've got the big book actually, the big book of pandas, and it goes into a lot more detail. Obviously, it's a bigger book. And it says, yes, I said it, according to my perfectly structured, perfectly logical and perfectly informed opinion, your glasses are ugly. But it says they're best friends, even though it's quite difficult to tell. And this rivalry started out in childhood, so it's just a nicer take on it. And then the advice here: quiet is needed for my sanity. They take turns when they go at each other. One of the pandas is toppled over right now, but he stood victor the other day. So it's a nice sort of take on it really. And let's finally look at the crystals. So let's get this out of the way. So once again, I'm still using the Crystal Magic Tarot by Kerry Ward and Claire Gregory. I've decided I'm going to continue to use this throughout the journey because it seems to be very helpful. So the Empress, Chrysocolla. Let's move these out of the way. So for the Empress we have Chrysocolla. For the Five of Swords we've got Smoky Quartz, and the star is a little piece of Moldavite there. Okay, so those are the cards. So let's see my friend Michael Gienger, Crystal Power, Crystal Healing, has to say about these cards. So start with Chrysocolla for the Empress. And the interesting bit I found here is here in the mythology it says, among the Chrysocolla was known as a healing stone, mainly among the Native American Indian cultures, where it was used for strengthening the body's resistance and for calming upset feelings. So that goes really well, doesn't it? Calming upset feelings. I like that. It accepts situations that are constantly changing and to pursue our own goals in spite of ups and downs. It helps us to keep a cool head It encourages neutrality and clarity. So those are things that can really help us in a Five of Swords situation. So Moldavite was formed approximately 15 million years ago after the impact of a giant meteorite in present day, what was known as Bavaria, because I don't know how to pronounce that. Splatters of rocks that were melted by the impact were propelled over a radius of about 250 miles or 400 kilometres. These cooled while they were airborne, and many fell to the ground in the general area of the present-day Moldavia. Moldavite is now found along the banks of the river Moldau, which is how it got its name. It's a magical stone for luck, fulfillment of wishes. It enhances clairvoyance, encourages sympathy and compassion. So maybe that's where we need Moldavite. Sympathy and compassion, that makes sense, doesn't it? It helps us detach our attention and awareness from strongly materialistic leanings and blocks, as well as from money problems and worries about the future. So that's a Moldavite. And then for Smoky Quartz, it's considered to be a protective stone against bad luck in alpine countries. It was worn by soldiers in the past, increases our tolerance of stress, helps us bear sorrow and produce great effort, cope more easily with hard times, and do the work that has to be done. So those are the stones. There we go. I think we can all agree that the Five of Swords is a very difficult card to deal with, and I think the advice given is warranted. Face up to our bullies and get stronger ourselves so that we don't see ourselves in that situation once again. And I don't think there's many people that haven't had that situation happen in their lives, and so maybe this will help. I hope you enjoyed my little exploration of the Five of Swords. You got any comments about what you think about the cards? I'd love to hear them. But until the next video, thank you for watching, and bye.